Exclusive leaked conversations regarding the Antony situation have been revealed by the United Stand. I'm going to go through them, gauge your opinions, and look at the reaction to these online as this situation spirals, I wouldn't say further out of control, but becomes an even bigger media circus, more attention, more information on the young Manchester United winger. Also, massive news this afternoon that Paul Pogba has tested positive for testosterone. He was tested after Juve played Udinese. He could face anywhere between 2 to 4 years out of football, which at his age is probably going to be the rest of his career. Paul Pogba could be found guilty of taking performance-enhancing drugs. We're delving into both those stories on the Done Deal show this evening. But to start with, I want to look at this Antony situation because this is from the United Stand. The link to their tweet is in our description below, so you can go and read through these at length here. And my understanding is that they've been translated from Portuguese into English. And the conversation that transpires is between two people. One of them is called Ingrid, who used to be with Antony. The other one, I think the name is pronounced Reginaldo as well. And they converse. I don't know how long it's for, but the full transcript is on the screen as you can see it right now. And overall, what was said is that Antony left Ingrid to be with Gabby. Now, Gabby is the when I say the main, there are 3 women making accusations against Antony. Gabby is the lady and the accused victim who was released a lot of the pictures, who was his ex, the one that from back in May, and his ex-girlfriend. So what these documentations go into is that, or this documentation on the conversation, is that Antony left Ingrid, whose comments are in red, to be with Gabby. In the transcripts, Ingrid warned Antony about Gabby and asked him to focus on his wife and kids. So it does appear here that Antony has been having some extra marital relationships away from his wife and away from his family with Ingrid and with Gabby and potentially with other women. Now, this is fairly common, not just in football, but across all high-level sports, the pop industry, the music industry, the film industry. I'm always staggered that so many young footballers, movie stars get married so young anyway, when maybe when you're young, you should be out there dating multiple people, finding the right person for you. But that is what he was doing. However, just because somebody cheats on their partner does not make them guilty of heinous crimes. There is no correlation in those things, in my personal opinion. It then goes on to state that Antony blocked Ingrid on every social media platform, but he did take her advice. So it does appear that after a certain amount of time, Ingrid has said, you know what, Ingrid gave him the advice. Antony looks at it and said, you know what, I don't want to speak to Ingrid anymore either, because it isn't right what I was doing, but I am going to move away from Gabby. And there's some interesting comments that come up in this statement. And because of the way it's been translated, I don't want to try to assume what it means. There's talk about, saying that I could hurt Antony, but I don't want to do it. He is a really good guy. There was quite a lot of references to, I don't know why people are trying to get and or hurt Antony. He's such a good guy. So there's a fair amount of defending him within this conversation that went on. But what it also went on to state, I want to make sure I read this here, is that Antony also cut ties with Gabby, and his reason for doing that was to go and focus upon his family. So the conversation implies, and I'm using the word implies, that Gabby potentially could be acting out of anger and frustration, that essentially Antony said, yeah, look, we're having a good time, but I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home to my wife. I want to be with my child or children. I'm not even sure how many kids he's got, but I want to go back to my family and I want to step away from this. That is how it reads to me personally. But I would love to get your views and your opinions. Now, what's significant about this is, look, this phone conversation doesn't mean 100% Antony is innocent, but it also potentially throws doubt over some of the accusations that have been made, which is why I've said all along, in terms of overly judging the situation, I won't slam the potential victims and say they're liars, because they may not be. I also won't sentence Antony and say that he is guilty of a crime that he did not commit. I think the situation surrounding the player The doctors, the Man United doctors, or Man United sending private doctors to the hotel room, terrible due diligence, terrible handling. And I hope and pray to God the articles written about that Man United have covered this up are not true. We should have been aware of what the doctors went out for. We should be aware if there was anything significant or out of the ordinary at that situation to know what was coming. Those elements there I stand by. I also believe the club are right to suspend Antony from play. 2 reasons, and I said it earlier today, and I stand by them 100%. One, until this situation is resolved, he shouldn't be kicking a ball for Man United. You do not want to run the risk of him being guilty and playing another 3 or 4 or 5 months. I think it's too big a risk for Man United to take. Secondly, if he's guilty and he's carried on playing, not just the optics, but it literally is a bad thing. There could be 2, 3 victims out there, maybe more, watching him play and get on with his life as normal. We have to act. We have to protect them, ourselves, and Antony. And protecting Antony is the 3rd reason why. I said 2, but I'm going to come up with 3 now. I don't think he's mentally in a position to be able to play. Whether guilty or innocent, I don't think he's in a mentally the right place to play. So they have to do that. I said it this morning. I'll say it again. I'm not passing judgment on whether he's guilty or not because I just don't know and I'm not an expert. But I said we'll keep abreast of this story as and when things break, as and when things come out. I want your views and opinions on it. Now, Paul Pogba. This story gave me pain today. Genuine pain. Always rated and loved Paul Pogba. Yes, there'll be countless bits of footage out there of me being angry at him after games, fuming. You'll also find footage of me saying I'm glad we didn't renew his contract last year. And that isn't because I don't love and like and respect who Paul Pogba is, what he is and was as a football player. It's because I put Man United above all of that. And I think our time with him has passed. And the real reason I didn't want him to stay is I think his body's shot to bits. Spent the majority of his first season back at Juve out injured. I'm not even sure if he played any games. Didn't even bother check. He is now reportedly tested positive for testosterone from a drugs test after the Juve Udinese game. He has 3 days to produce a counter analysis of the results. If found guilty, doping bans carry suspensions from playing ranging from 2 to 4 years. Now, Paul Pogba, again, it's always weird saying this because I'm older than him, but I remember watching him play for the Man United youth team ever before anybody on social media or in the world of football really knew who Paul Pogba was. Man United fans did. I love the guy then. But at 30 years of age, if he's found guilty, if this is true, 2 years without football, maybe 4 years without football, this is it. We're never going to see him again. I pray to God he has not done this. I pray to God this isn't true. I pray to God there's a logical explanation. But with the injury records that he's got, the way his body's been failing him, could out of desperation for him to get back to the top, could he have taken some testosterone? It's plausible. It's absolutely plausible. It does help your body. I don't know whether it's good or bad for you in the longer term. I'm not a doctor. But I know the guys that I go to the gym with, they're not on steroids, but as they get into their late 30s, early 40s, they'll take testosterone. Helps them. I did read that Mike Tyson, when he trained for that fight not too long ago against, I forget who he fought, when he came back, that he was taking testosterone. I believe in some countries like America, you can get that stuff from your doctors quite easily. But of course, as a professional athlete, you cannot take it. And I hope Paul Pogba hasn't done this because it would be it'd be such a shameful way. And I don't mean shame as not shame on you. I just mean what a shame. To end, again, 6 appearances last year, just 1 so far this season. You know, actually, just looking at this, in the last 3 seasons, he's only played 27 league games. He's only played 38 games in all competitions in 3 years. But this is a man who, you know, this guy won 3, 4 Serie A's. I'm just looking at his list here. 4 Serie A's, 2 Coppa Italias, 2 Super Coppa Italias, the Europa League and the League Cup with Man United. He won the French under-20, he won the under-20s World Cup with France, the World Cup with France, the Nations League with France. This man's got a decorated career. And For it to end this way, with a couple of years of almost invisibility due to injuries, and for him to potentially fail this drugs test, or he has failed a drugs test, for him to be found guilty of using performance-enhancing drugs to end his career this way, it would be such a shame. It would be such a horrible grey cloud to go out under for such a superb and brilliant football player. I spoke about it so many times on the terrace, though. Physicality, the physical attributes of a player are so key. And the one thing about Pogba, which is why I advocated for us not to give him that 450 grand a week deal, his ability, by the way, when he's 50, he'll still have techers. But when that body starts to break down, when you start to lose not just the power and the speed or the athleticism in play, that ability to stay fit. I know some of you guys, as you get older, you'll know what I'm talking about. You might get out of a chair and go, oh, make that noise. It's when your body's starting to fail you. Not from a, you'll still live to, be 80, 90 years old and have a good life. But I'm talking about competing at sports. It's different. And I'm sad by this. I'm genuinely saddened by this news. Listen, my people, let me know what you think, what you feel in the comment sections below. Hit the like button before you leave as well. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon.